As you can see from the title of this document, this is Warriors Into the Wild translated. It's just the first chapter though, because everything else was taking forever. So, chapter 1, the only chapter. Darkly said that himself. I felt something rustle coming. This is already off to a great start. The young man's black eyes widened at the sight of the dense undergrowth. The place was unfamiliar to him, but the strange smell pulled him deeper into the darkness. My stomach growled, and I realized he was hungry. Opening his mouth slightly, allowing the warm scent of the forest to reach his palate. That putrid smell mixed with the allure of the scent of small furry creatures. Okay, first of all, there are no men in Warriors. There's only toms, kits, and she-cats. Anyway, suddenly a great light appeared before his eyes. It was covered in rust, and he listened. It was hidden in the leaves about 2 tail lengths from me. A mouse. He heard a small pulsating sound deep in his ears. He swallowed, suppressing the growl in his stomach. Soon his hunger would be satisfied. He slowly exposed to the ground and bent down to tease. The force of the wind was coming from behind. He knew he was unaware of his own. His own what? Rusty took one last look at his food, then rose on his elbows and laughed, sending leaves flying to the forest floor. The mouse crawled to a hole in the ground for a hiding place, but Rusty had already reached the top. When he picked it up, he grabbed the weakling with his sharp claws, throwing the leaves in an arc. The mouse fell to the ground, unconscious but alive. He tried to escape, but was caught by Rusty. Then he threw the ball a little further. What? Where did they get a ball from? The mouse managed to catch a few steps ahead of Rusty. Suddenly a roar was heard from nearby. As Rusty looked around, the mouse managed to escape from his hands. Paws, not hands. Turning, he saw Rusty hiding in the darkness between the roots of a tree. Why was it Rusty hiding in the roots of a tree? Why not the mouse? Like Rastin. Who is Rastin? Is it like Rusty? Because they got it wrong. They got it very, very wrong. Rastin was angry, and he let out a chase. He turned green, eyes flashing. Cats don't just turn green. He wanted to find the voice that had taken life. The sound continued to crackle, and it became more and more familiar. He blinked hard. The forest is that does actually happen? So, He lay curled up on his bed in the hot, humid kitchen. The moonlight through the window cast shadows on the flat, hard floor. The sound was made by the dripping of food pellets into a dry bowl. The dripping of dry food pellets into a bowl. That's how it should be. He had a rusty dream. What? How does a dream get rusty? What? He raised his head and I can't talk. He raised his head and rested his chin on the edge of the bed. Its collar pressed uncomfortably against his neck. As he slept, he could feel the soft skin of his neck, where it usually rested, rustling in the cold air. He lay on his back and enjoyed his sleep for a while. He still felt something was wrong. This was the third dream he had had since the full moon, and every time a mouse had run away from him. He licked his lips. He noticed a rotten, cooked smell in the bed. A victim always fills up on food before going to bed. What? What? Why a victim? I swear I'm going to die. The warm sleep gave way to the smell of dust, but hunger burned his stomach. So Rusty yawned to stay awake and walked across the kitchen in search of dinner. The food was dry and tasteless. Reluctantly, Rusty swallowed the last bite. Then, taking his eyes off the food bowl and turning to the cat door, he hoped a scent of paradise would remind him of the feelings he had experienced in his dream. The moon was shining outside. A light rain was falling. Descending, Rusty walked down the starry gravel path and entered the beautifully manicured gardens. What? How do gardens get manicures? I am so confused with this logic. Like, what? What, do plants have feet now? Oh my god. This is making my head hurt. He felt the cold, sharp underfoot. Okay, this is fine. This is fine. He planted the ground under a large bush. You can plant ground. Oh my god. Okay. With green leaves. He planted the ground under a large bush with green leaves and purple flowers. A sweet, putrid smell filled the damp air around him, and he bit his lip to clear the stench from his nose. What? I don't think that if you bite your lip, you can just stop smelling. Then Rusty passed into a fortified enclosure near the garden. It was one of his favorite places, overlooking the lovely woods and adjoining gardens beyond the fence. The rain had stopped. The small patch of grass behind him was lit by the moon, but the woods beyond the fence were dark. Rusty leaned forward and drew in the damp air. His skin was warm and dry under the thick fur, but he could feel the weight of the drops on his red fur. He's actually flame-colored, not red. So, also that he does not have long fur. He is an American Shorthair, which has short hair. Yeah. The master heard his master call him one last time from the back. Oh my god. I don't think Google Translate knows how English works. Okay. If he came to them now, they would greet him with sweet words of comfort and invite him to their bed. Whoa, what do you mean by that? There he would warm his face with a hug and a cry. What? How? I have nothing to say to that. But this time, Rusty ignored his master's voice and turned back to the forest. The new smell of the forest after the rain was more refreshing. Suddenly, they... Okay. Suddenly, the hairs began to... I can't say it without laughing. Suddenly, the hairs began to grow on my back, and I felt a tingling sensation in my spine. What had happened outside? Did he see her? Rusty looked straight ahead, but the darkness and forest could not see or smell anything. No. No. Trees cannot see or smell. I agree. He lifted his head. He lifted his head sharp. I really can't talk. He lifted his head sharply, arched his back, stretched his whole body, and stretched his legs. Isn't that is what it doesn't isn't aren't his legs a part of his whole body? Stretch his whole body and stretch his legs and place his feet on each corner of the fence. How many feet does this guy have? And paws. Come on. He lifted his legs and straightened his back. He closed his eyes and exhaled into the scent of the forest. He seemed promising as a man. What man? He's a cat. I give him something to draw him deeper into the whispering shadows. He lay out a moment, stretching his arms. Then he collapsed gently into the sticky grass beyond the garden gate. What? Why is the grass sticky? As soon as he landed, the bell on his collar jingled in the silence of the night. I did. What? Rusty, where are you going? A familiar voice rang out behind him. He looked up sharply. The black and white kitten was restlessly tossing itself against the fence. What? Oh my God! What? Can you not jump? Can you not jump? Hey, Smudge, he said to Rusty. But wouldn't that be Rusty saying it? Aren't you going to the woods? His yellow eyes were wide open. Danger! He roared with boredom. His black noses. What? Henry said he had done it once. The cat lifted his head and, holding its lumpy beak. But cats don't have beaks. What is wrong with Google Translate? Anyway. The cat lifted its head and, holding its lumpy beak, pointed across the fence to the garden where Henry lived. This big cat has never been to the woods, Rusty chuckled. After visiting the vet, he barely left the yard. For all he had to eat and sleep, they wanted to do it. No, by God! Isn't this too good? No, by God! I'm sorry, I can't read it. No, by God, he did. I don't know why it's so funny. No, by God, he kidnapped Robin. He demanded fearfully. How is that a demand? What? What? If that was the case, I went to the vet first. Now I complain that birds keep me up at night. Smudge continued, ignoring Rusty's laughter. Henry said the world is full of dangerous animals. Big wildcats that eat rabbits for breakfast and sharpen their claws with age on bones. How do you sharpen your claws with age on bones? This makes no sense. You'll never know until you see, he growled not long after saying so. The black and white cat turned and jumped over the fence into the garden. The cat was sitting in the thick grass behind the fence. He licked his shoulder timidly, wondering if the rumors about Smudge were true. Suddenly, he noticed a small creature moving. He saw the woman resting under a cigar and leaning on it of her own accord. What? They don't even know what cigars are, let alone women. Like, what? He crept slowly through the bushes. He approached the animal with ears pricked, nostrils flared, eyes wide open. Wait, so are you hunting the woman leaning on a cigar and underneath it? Like, what is this? He could now clearly see the bees resting among the thorny branches, and before him were large seeds tearing through the leaves. The mouse was what? Rusty was preparing for spring. Cool. But isn't it called no leaf? Like, what? He held his breath, waiting for the bell to ring again. He was so excited that his heart began to beat faster. No, really, I did not know that was what happened when you became excited. More wonderful than he had imagined. What was more wonderful? Like, what? He suddenly shuddered and heard the sound of branches breaking and leaves rustling. With the fake sound of the bell ringing, the mouse fled to the onion bush. What onion bush? What? Oh my god. I think I'm gonna go insane reading this. Scratchy stopped and looked around. Is this that cat from Scratch? Like, this is not a goddamn coding website. Ahead I saw a white-tipped furry red tail bending among the tall ferns. It had a strong and strange scent, but it was probably a predatory scent, not a cat or dog. No, it's a cat. You are... Oh my god, this... Yeah, I knew I was going to go insane reading this. Scratchy sat there listlessly, oblivious to the mouse and the red tail, looking curiously at it. He wanted to take a closer look. Rusty moved forward, all senses focused. Then he heard another voice. The voice was coming from behind me, but very faint and distant. He listened intently to his voice. Lightness? What is lightness? What in the name of StarClan is lightness? He thought for a moment, but he walked without taking his eyes off the wonderful red before him. Rusty didn't show he was in danger until he left a faint murmur behind him. The sound then cracked into a large leafy ledge. I like the alliteration there. Large leafy ledge. The monster exploded and threw Rusty into the clods. He screamed, trying to get away from his attacker hanging from behind. He grabbed him with very sharp claws. Rustin felt thorns sink into his neck. What thorns? Also, they spelled that his neck. It's not Rustin, it's Rusty. Soon, Firepaw, then Fireheart, then Firestar. Like, come on. He writhed in the air around his... He writhed in the hair around his neck, but couldn't get out. They don't have hair, they have fur. Though then again, I guess some people will call that hair, so I'm already going insane. Like, what is this? He felt helpless, then he bound. He thought quickly and turned. He knew instinctively how dangerous it would be to show his soft belly, but it was the only solution. He was lucky. It seems to have died. No, Grandpa! Why? You guys are gonna be best friends! No! Okay. He was lucky. It seems to have died. As the suspect struggled to breathe, a sound was heard from below. Hi. After a fierce struggle, Rusty manages to escape. He ran to his house without looking back. Rusty heard footsteps behind him and followed his attacker. Despite his injuries and pain, Rusty turned and fought not to be attacked again. He stopped suddenly, turned, and looked at his companions. What okay, can't look at that. It's a bit, telling, is it not? Okay. Another kitten with thick, shaggy gray fur, strong legs, and a broad nose. Why are the noses, like, credited with all this? It was a cat. He knew immediately that it was a rusty cat and felt the strong shoulders underneath the soft fur. The kitten! The kitten! Then ran towards Rusty. Rusty was so shocked by the change that it brought another panic. He gasped strangely and lifted his feet and leaned back. He closed his eyes and exhaled into the scent in the forest. As if promising something, he drew the whispering shadows deeper. He let out a moment. He let out a moment, stretching his arms. He doesn't have arms. He has 4 paws. Like, come on, what? Then he threw himself lightly into the thick grass beyond the garden gate. As soon as he landed, the bell on his neck rang in the silence of the night. Rusty, where are you going? A familiar voice came from behind him. He looked up, scratching one. The black and white kitten was restlessly tossing the cat against the fence. My God, dude. Hey, Smudge, he said to Rusty. Aren't you going into the forest? His eyes wide. Wait, what? Okay, okay. Aren't you going into the forest? The yellow eyes widened in disgust. Danger! He roared with boredom. His black nose wrinkled, and he returned to the garden again, a lump in his beak. This big cat has never been to the forest. His only desire is to eat and sleep. No, seriously, he caught Robin. Smudge asked. How? That's not a question. That is a statement. Like, oh my God. If he was like that before, he's sure now because of the bird. He complains that he can't sleep. Anyway, Smudge went on, scorning the rustling scorn. Scorn rustles? Okay. Anyway, Henry said that there were many dangerous animals in the world. Big wildcats that eat rabbits for breakfast and sharpen their claws with age. But you can't. I saw you, Rusty muttered. I don't think you've been gone long, Smudge muttered. The black and white cat turned and jumped over the fence into the garden. Rusty sat in the thick grass behind the fence. He licked his shoulder nervously, wondering if the rumors about Smudge were true. Now he could clearly see the bees among the thorny branches gnawing at large seeds with their front legs. It was a mouse. The mouse ran to the onion bush. Scratches stopped and looked around. I saw the white tip of a furry red tail curling among the tall ferns in front of me. It had a strong, strange scent, but it was probably a predatory scent, not cat or dog. Scratches sat there listlessly, forgetting the mouse and the red tail curiously looking. What? He wanted to take a closer look. Rusty moved forward, all his senses focused. Then he heard another voice. The voice was coming from behind me, but very faint and distant. He listened attentively to its voice. Lightness? He thought for a moment, but he walked without taking his eyes off the strange red one before him. What? Why is the T and the capitalized? Rusty did not know that he was in danger until he left behind him with a faint murmur. The something cracked into a large leaf edge. Oh man, what happened to large leaf ledge? Ugh, it's a large leaf edge now, I guess. The monster exploded and threw Rusty into the claws. I have never seen a car explode. Why? Why is that just sounds so funny? He cried out, trying to get away from the attacker hanging from behind. He grabbed him with very sharp claws. Rustin felt the thorns sink into his neck. He wrote in the hair around his neck, but could not get out. He is not Rusty. He is becoming Aaron Hunter. You want to know why? Because he was writing in the hair around his neck. Oh my god. Actually, I don't think Aaron Hunter wrote in the hair around her neck. I don't know, man. He felt helpless. Then he tied it. He thought quickly, then and turned. He knew that by nature it was dangerous to expose a soft belly, but there was only one solution. He was lucky. It seems to have died. As the suspect struggled to breathe, a sound was heard from below. Hi, hi. After a fierce struggle, Rusty manages to escape. He ran to his house without looking back. Rusty heard footsteps behind him and followed his attacker. Although the pain from his anger exasperated him, Rusty preferred to turn and fight rather than be attacked again. He stopped suddenly, turned, and looked at his companions. The other was a kitten, thick, shaggy gray, with strong legs and very large eyes. He felt the strong shoulders under the soft, rusty fur, knew immediately that it was a cat. The kitten then ran towards Rusty. Rusty was so shocked by the change that it brought another terror. The shock took his breath away. The cat appeared magnificently from the bushes. She was really beautiful. Her nose was covered with white fur, and she had a nasty scar on her shoulder, but her gray fur shone smoothly in the moonlight like silver. Blue Star! The gray cat sat down next to Rusty and began to coo. He's a bird now. Coo, coo. Pigeon. Whatever. Rusty leaned closer, and another beautiful golden spotted cat followed the gray cat into the street. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, my God. Why are they in the street? I thought they were in the forest. Gray Cloud, don't get too close to the area. Golden, sure. He narrowed his eyes and growled angrily. I know, Lionheart. I'm sorry. He glanced down at his feet. Gray Paw followed Rusty's example, crouching down on the ground, ears twitching anxiously. This cat had a strength none of his friends had ever seen in the garden. Perhaps what Smudge had told him was true. Who are you? The cat asked. Rusty turned to him and frowned. His piercing blue eyes made him look more vulnerable. That's no threat, Chief Gray muttered shortly. Who is Chief Gray? Is that somebody? I'm crying right now. Oh my God. This is so wrong. He's not a warrior of our family, you mean clan. Just a two-legged pet from outside our territory. Just a two-legged animal. These words touched Rusty's heart, but he said nothing. The warning glint in Blue Star's eyes told him of his anger, and he looked up. Oh my God, dude, cats do not have just two legs. He belongs to two legs right now, but like, oh my God. This is Blue Star. It's a she, first of all. She's the leader of my family, Graypaw hissed at Ryzik. Why do they keep getting his name wrong? Why? And so is Lionheart. He's my master. He's the one who will teach me to be a warrior. Thank you for the introduction, Gray Cloud, the lion muttered coldly. Blue Star still looked at Rusty. He was a bipedal animal, but he was a good swimmer. Where? Do you know? He also looked at you. What? Blue Star continued as though he could read her mind. Gray Paw, I wondered how you would handle an intruder. You tough him out, Gray Cloud said, pleased to do Blue Star the honor of listening. You two sit down. Blue Star looked at Rusty. You too, house cat. Kitty pet, but yeah. Blue Star quickly stood to her feet as she spoke, her gaze unfocused. You responded well to the attack, house cat. Is that his name? Why is house cat capitalized? Is that his name now? Like, how many? Great Cloud is stronger than you, but clever enough to defend yourself, and when he pursues, you can beat him. I've never seen a pup. Is that a puppy and a cat? I'm going to die. I've never seen a puppy do anything like that before. Rusty nodded gratefully, overwhelmed by the unexpected honor. The words that followed him were even more surprising. I was wondering how you managed to get two-legged outside the line. Huh? He looked around. Wait, we've looked around this border often, and I've seen you sitting on the borders, looking out into the forest. Oh boy, we're nearing the end. And now you finally set foot here, said Pa. But yeah. Blue Star looked thoughtfully at Rusty. You seem to have a hunting instinct, he said harshly. If you hadn't held on the mouse so long, you might have caught it. Really? Rusty scratched. The Lion King said Wait, what? Wait, Simba or Mufasa? Like, that's my question. His deep growl was still insistent, his duty urgent. Blue Star is a house cat. That's true. Thunder isn't allowed to hunt in the 3 territories. Send her back to 2 legs. What? Rake shuddered at Lionheart's condescending. Who is Rake? Can I take you home? He pondered impatiently. Blue Star's word filled him with pride. He noticed her, and it impressed him. But I came here to look for a mouse or 2. Let there be enough food for all. Yeah, right. This guy, Rusty, is acting like he's a king or leader. He's like, let there be enough food for all. Blue Star turned his head, understanding what Lionheart was saying. Then he stared at last. Trying not to go insane. Or at least more insane than I already am. Okay. His blue eyes flashed with anger. It won't be enough for anyone, he cried. You would know this if you hadn't lived such a beautiful and full life. Red Paw was shocked by Blue Star's sudden anger, but the look on Gray Paw's face frightened him. He said this boldly. The Lion King walked towards his leader. How does a Lion King does not have a leader? He is a leader. Come on. The Lion King walked towards his leader. Now the 2 warriors were much taller than him. Blue Star looked at the rustling, and her pride melted. There was no need to confront her friend, this angry chimney, who was starting to get hungry. Those last few words always get me. Anyway, thank you for watching. Or, well, mostly listening. But, anyway. Make sure you like and subscribe. And I will make more like this. Bye.